I'm your host, Neil Howard, here on Health Professional Radio. Thank you so much for joining us one more time. We're going to be having a conversation with returning guest this evening, Dr. Michael Korn. He's Chief Medical Officer at Caris Life Sciences, and he's coming back to talk about some new data presented at the European Society for Medical Oncology Virtual Congress 2020 from a study that supports that the treatment of certain ovarian cancer patients with KRAS-mutated epithelial ovarian carcinomas, that's a mouthful, and I'll let Dr. Korn explain to us the importance of this new data. Welcome back, Dr. Korn, and thanks for taking the time.
Yes, thank you very much, Neil. It's a great pleasure to be with you again. It's also a great excitement for us at Caris Life Sciences to talk about these findings that are just essentially a small part of a very broad-based approach to improve precision medicine and improve outcomes for patients with cancer. So glad to be with you again.
Well, for our listeners who may not be familiar with you, give our listeners a brief background about your area of expertise, and then let's talk about this precision medicine, how this precision medicine is going to impact cancer patients.
Sure. Yeah, just briefly, my background, I'm an oncologist. My personal focus is gastrointestinal oncology, but I'm also a molecular oncologist. So I'm trying to understand how to interpret molecular findings in cancer from a diagnostic and particularly also a therapeutic standpoint. And at Caris Life Sciences, I'm the Chief Medical Officer. And so the principle of precision medicine is to analyze an individual cancer in a patient at great depth at the molecular level, and to use the information gained to then chart a course for the patient in terms of optimal treatment. So the idea is to get away from what we have done for way too long, which is treat every cancer patient the same, and to move towards a highly individualized treatment that then results in improved outcomes for our patients and also less toxicity. The example we're talking about today is a study we did in ovarian cancer, where this kind of principle is being increasingly employed too.
When we're talking about precision medicine, are we talking about treating the cancers themselves or treating the patient as they have the cancer? I mean, each patient is different. Different types of ovarian cancer, or maybe even the same type of ovarian cancer, may affect one patient quite differently than another.
Yes, that is totally the idea here. When you look at two cancers found in two individuals, they never look alike. At the molecular level, there are always big differences. And sometimes these differences are actually a result of inherited properties that increase the chances of a patient to develop this type of cancer. And that is definitely the truth also in ovarian cancer. Every ovarian cancer or no ovarian cancer looks alike. Mm-hmm. And so understanding how it looks like at an individual level allows us then increasingly to design individualized treatment just for that patient.
Now, I did mention KRAS or KRAS-mutated carcinomas. Explain what that is.
Yes. So KRAS mutations are very well-known molecular alterations in cancer in general. The KRAS gene, when mutated, turns into a very powerful oncogene that in many different scenarios drives the development and progression of cancers. And in ovarian cancer, we knew that there are, in some patients, KRAS mutations occurring. I have to say, mostly we're focusing on colorectal cancer or lung cancer when we think about this kind of mutation. But we knew it occurs in ovarian cancer. But with this study now, we were able to really look at great depth into the frequency of these mutations. And in particular, that's important because recently we have started, scientists have started understanding how to therapeutically target mutant KRAS, and that makes it now very interesting.
So the data that was presented at this year's virtual Congress supports all of these findings, yeah?
Absolutely. So because we are profiling, means performing this in-depth molecular analysis, many patients each year, many thousands of patients. We have a large collection of data from patients with ovarian cancer. So we analyzed a total of 7,300 cases for this study, so a large number. And we're able to determine that in 8.3% of these, we find this KRAS mutation. And what's most interesting is that almost half of these mutations we found, 45%, are specific mutations that we call either a G12C or a G12D KRAS mutation. And that is important because there are now very specific inhibitors currently in clinical development that target exactly these mutations.
What's the timeline that we're looking for when these treatments are going to be readily available?
Yeah, they are undergoing the clinical evaluation at the moment. So there are clinical trials ongoing in various disease settings and so on. But these trials are available. So if a doctor finds a KRAS mutation right now in an ovarian cancer, they can look for these trials. And, it depends a bit on the FDA and how the data develop. But I would think that, within the next year, hopefully, we will have these broadly available.
Well, where can we go online and get some more information about Caris Life Sciences?
Yeah, so first of all, the ESMO Congress itself is online. At least the abstracts are generally available. But we have also a very nice website. You can find it at www.carislifesciences.com. And Caris Life Sciences, all one word.
Well, Michael, always a pleasure to talk with you. Always some great information. Thanks for returning, and I'm sure we'll be speaking again.
I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for reaching out, and I hope this is valuable information for your listeners.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen in, download at SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.